And we are.
Good morning, everybody. Hi, and welcome. I'm Tami, the creator of the blog and this YouTube channel called Nutmeg Notebook. And this is where I share with you all about a whole food, plant-based lifestyle. We are so excited for today. And I know I've heard from many of you that are very excited about today as well. Let's just do a little bit of quick housekeeping. We have Kathy Hester joining us today. I'm super excited about that. You know, she's an expert when it comes to all things plant-based in the kitchen. And she has figured out how to use the Ninja Creami to make incredible plant-based frozen treats. And we're going to be talking with her all about that. You guys can ask Kathy questions. So go ahead, be in the chat. We just ask that you would preface your questions with 3 question marks and end with 3 question marks. So that will help Tom spot what's questions, because we know you guys get busy chatting it up in the chat feed as well. We have Tiffany with us today and Jesse with us. They're helping to moderate. If for some reason Tom misses some of your questions, they'll be sure to capture them and bring them to our attention as well. And they can also answer a lot of questions. So I think, Tom, you're checking the sound. Are we all good? Let's bring Kathy on. You got it, Tom?
Yeah, let me get Kathy on just a moment.
Okay, he's working on it. So I just got mine. There she is. Good morning, Kathy.
Hey, everybody. It's so awesome to be here.
I mean, this is a really great way to start the day, don't you think? We get to eat and we get to make fun food. I mean, I love my job.
Who doesn't, I hope, right?
Yeah, exactly. So super excited to learn that you have the Ninja Creami and that you've been working on tons of recipes for it. That's so exciting. So many.
So many. I think I have 17 pints in the freezer right now.
No way.
Total way. How else can I get an ebook done in like a month?
Well, yeah, you'd have to do that. Oh my gosh. Well, you'll have to have a plant-based ice cream party or something to help get rid of all that stuff.
It's true. There have been frozen breakfasts known to be happening.
I like it. I think it's really cool. Well, I just got my machine. It came on Friday for my birthday. And
happy belated birthday.
Thank you. And so quickly, you know, I washed my containers and we ordered extra containers. I do not have 17. I only have 6, I think. So you're way ahead of me.
As a normal person should.
Right. Right. Well, we are not normal. We are not normal. And you've created this amazing class online for it. You want to talk a little bit about that before we get rolling on this, just so people know what we're doing today?
Absolutely. And I want to say Chef AJ helped me name it, but I feel like it needs to be yelled. It's like the Ninja Creami experience with Kathy Hester. Woo! It's what it sounds like to me in my head. So it started out to being an ebook, and I was just going to do an ebook with full color pictures for all the recipes, like the one you're seeing now. That's the banana split and ice cream. That's a blueberry banana smoothie bowl. We're going to see if they can trick me since I made so many.
Yeah. Do you have another one you can show? Yeah.
And that is the beginnings of the cantaloupe mint. Really, it's a sherbet. Then I called it a sorbet. We'll see which way we go. And we can talk about the difference if you want. But the more I started posting about it in groups and in my newsletter and talking about it on YouTube, the more questions people had. And also some issues people have that aren't really issues. So when you look at a new product like the Ninja Creami or something else, you're going to go to Amazon and read all the reviews. Well, a lot of the reviews are user errors, the negative reviews. I don't say that about all appliances, and I would not tell you. So do know that. So what I decided to do was also add in, I think there's about 30 videos of each detailed step. And in fact, there's a whole beginner section. So you can get your stuff out of the box, make your first 2 pints with me. spin those first 2 pints with me so you're not feeling like you're just in this vacuum. And the problems that have already been solved, you don't have to repeat. And there's a place for questions. And so you get my personal help along the way as well. It's pre-order because the ebook, fingers crossed, is coming out Monday. We're working on it. As we speak, we're laying it out and everything. And then there's a couple of checklists. One is more about like a shopping list and what you could have. And we can talk a little bit about some things that you might want to have on hand when you get your Creami. And then there's going to be kind of like, I'm imagining it now as a diagram. We'll see what happens, that to know which button to use. And
Yes.
And some people have Creamis with 5 buttons and some have with 7. Do know that if you have one with 5, you don't need the 7. It's kind of like if you have the Instant Pot Duo, you don't need the Instant Pot Pro, or you don't need the Instant Pot that has the cake setting, right? We don't need that. So it's actually the same machine, from my understanding, just without a smoothie bowl and a gelato. So, and we talk about some of that stuff. I go through troubleshooting videos, facts, do's and don'ts, and then like, that's not enough, right? So now you have a book with over 30 recipes coming. You've got all these videos. I'm doing a live question and answer session in August. And then there's going to be a Ninja Creami class, because I do 2 classes every month. So I'm like, let's make it a class. And we'll talk about kind of how you can judge making your own creations. You can always work off a recipe, but a lot of people got disappointed. They got their Creamis and then they looked at the recipe book and it was all coconut cream and coconut milk. And that doesn't really fit into a whole food plant-based diet, right? And so also, when you read carefully, it'll say you can use bananas and pineapple, but you shouldn't use mango. And that's not necessarily true. So this is actually, this purple Creami is my second Creami. The first Creami is still alive and doing well. I realized if I was going to finish these 30 recipes in a couple of weeks and I was going to push it to try these things that they're like, don't use mango. Well, you know what? Mango didn't even slow it down.
That's good to know, because that's one of my favorites is mango.
Right. And I have a mango lassi recipe coming out in the book too. And so I think one of the things is they were looking at it from this technical ice cream perspective, which is you have X amount of fat and X amount of sugar to get it to X amount of temperature to make the ice crystal a certain size. And that's brilliant when you can eat all the things, right?
Right.
But if you can't eat all the things, I'm coming at it from this total other thing that I love the Ninja Creami over like a Cuisinart ice cream maker, because it does exactly the opposite thing. So in my Cuisinart, it gets to about a soft serve texture and then I have to freeze it. Well, if there's no oil or sugar in it, it freezes like a rock. I can't scoop it out. It's frustrating. With the Onana, it works great on bananas, but not always as good on other fruits. And it's really hard to clean, in my personal opinion. If you don't have a problem with it, you don't have to have this, okay? If you are happy using what you're using, I'm not trying to make you get another appliance, but I actually had an interview with Vicki from Ann Arbor Kitchen, Vegan Ann Arbor Kitchen. And she was like, I don't need one. I've got my Breville, blah, blah, blah. And it's funny because today she's buying one.
Oh.
And I told her the same thing I'm telling you guys, is that it's okay if you don't want one, but I do think you might want one. And one of the reasons is like Nice Cream is super creamy. You don't have to make as much as you would in a food processor. You don't have to add any milk, like non-dairy milk, obviously, to blend it in a large VitaMix. And you're making a pint at a time. And you can have as many pints as you want. They are special pints that fit in. So you can't just go and buy any ice cream pint. And they do end up being about $10 each. And with my second one, I got 5 pints, and Cheryl got me pints for my birthday. And so that's how I ended. it's nice to have maybe 2 to 7 pints, depending on what you want to do. Because you can also make smoothies in here. So you could prep your smoothies for the week, your green smoothies, by putting frozen fruit, greens, and covering it with your favorite non-dairy milk. And
I love that. So a
yeah.
couple of the pros that I think about it, because I have the Cuisinart ice cream maker. I have, of course, my VitaMix. I have the food processor. I have a Champion juicer that makes really good frozen sorbets as well. The thing about all of those is those are all a soft serve consistency. What's amazing about the Creami is it's scoopable. And so like I can make a healthy ice cream, plant-based, for my grandkids. They can put on an ice cream cone and they can lick it because it's frozen. It's frozen. It's soft enough to still eat, but it retains its shape. You know, you can scoop it, which is just amazing. And it doesn't immediately melt all over the place. And you can do a bunch of different flavors and still feed company fresh ice cream because it only takes like 4 minutes for it to process on here. And so you can do a strawberry. You can do it like I did on my birthday. I did a peanut butter, a banana peanut butter, and then chocolate chip because you can do the add-ins and after it's processed, you can do the add-in. So I did that. I did pineapple. I did the applesauce, you know, so that we could have a whole tasting of different flavors easily. Plus the cleanup is so amazingly simple.
It's the best cleanup of any appliance that I've used. And you guys know I'm like the appliance whisperer. So if there's an appliance, I'm playing with it. But yeah, and everything. So like this is the inner pint and lid, and this is the outer lid and outer pint, and the little creamyizer paddle, sometimes just known as paddle or blade. And all of this is dishwasher safe. Now, which also, so the thing is with whole food plant-based mixtures, though, you're not really putting any fat in there. Even if I'm doing something that has, I offer like using water and maybe 2 tablespoons of cashew butter or a quarter teaspoon or a quarter cup of cashews. Even at that, for the whole pint, it rinses out really easily without any residue, because I did make one of their recipes with the coconut milk when I first had it. And that I put in the dishwasher because it was greasy and I honestly didn't enjoy it. I think using maybe a little coconut milk and something else, but if you're doing these kinds of recipes, you don't even need to put it in the dishwasher.
No, it's simple little squirt of dish soap and some hot water does it justice. So, well, I want to tell everybody that I have Kathy's course and I binge watched the videos because I wanted to know how to use this thing when it came, because there is a slight learning curve to it because it's different than making it in all the conventional ways that we've been making it. And then I did exactly what you suggested in your course. I made the pineapple and I made an applesauce, you know, because those were super easy and simple. So you can do something as simple as opening up a can of crushed pineapple and putting it in the pint, leveling it out and put it in the freezer. And then you'll have like Dole Whip, which is delicious. I loved it. Tom's not crazy about it, but he's not a big pineapple fan. So you can also just do, Kathy shows you how to just use applesauce. You can just use the applesauce. And that turned out great. And that's going to be a wonderful treat for the grandkids. And they could have it for breakfast because it's just one thing. It's fruit. So they could have it for breakfast as well. So that was super easy. And also just know that the recipes are just an idea as well, right? So you can customize things according to your personal taste preferences. And both Kathy and I know, because we publish recipes, that, somebody's going to say, oh, but I don't like that, or it didn't taste good to me, or whatever it might be. That's okay. You can customize it. You can make it as sweet or not as sweet, depending on what you put in it. So I'm real excited because I mixed up Kathy's strawberry pear sorbet, which is one of the recipes that y'all are going to get in the class. And I'm so excited. And this was a little more work than just dumping the can, but I could hardly call it work, right? Because all the ingredients just went in the blender and got mixed up.
Did you use the canned pears, or did you
I used the ones from Trader Joe's that come in the jar.
Okay, cool. I haven't tried those particular ones. So just for everyone watching, so I pears are kind of like avocados in my house. They're not ready, and then whoops, I missed them. So while you certainly can use fresh pears in this, you can get canned pears in fruit juice, just in pear juice. And if I remember correctly, then I think I have you pour off some of the juice from the pears so that you can fit in your other fruit. You can pick any fruit you wanted. Yep.
So do you want to talk to them about what you call the volcano?
The volcano. So
I have a lump.
So there's a couple of reasons why that may happen, and it's so easy to fix. So one is that it freezes from the outside in. So depending on your mixture, you might get a hump. Some people are freezing without the lid, and it's 50-50 if they get the hump. But literally, you're going to take a tablespoon and go back and forth, and it's going to look like granita. And then you just smooth it out and level it out. It takes no upper body strength.
No.
I mean, it seems like, it would be really hard. With some of the oat-based ice creams, if you left in the oats instead of straining them, it is a little bit harder, but you can just leave it sit out for about 5 minutes. Why do you need that to be level? So let's talk about that for a second. So this little nib thing here has a rod that goes up here. So it comes down and it brings this blade down with it. And actually I could show you in a minute if you wanted to. And we want this blade to go straight down so that it's coming in here. And see how it fits in here with just a few centimeters on any side. So if it goes this way and tilts, it's going to scrape plastic off of this into your ice cream. You will see this on Amazon. People are talking about that. So I get a lot of questions. Well, I'm really scared of this machine because it puts plastic in your ice cream. Not if you do it properly. Not if you make it level. So some people will go ahead and not level a volcano if it's perfectly in the middle and have had it work for them. I look at it this way. This is a $200 machine. If it takes me, and like the amount of leveling that Tammy's doing right now, he doesn't need to do, and I do it sometimes too, because once you're in there, you're like, ooh, I can make it a little bit smoother. Literally, you can make it like a 60-second thing.
Okay.
And I'm totally guilty of it too, Tammy. I think even in one of the videos, I'm like, oh, you don't have to be all OCD and spread it. And then I spread it for about another 2 minutes.
I know. I'm a little OCD, just a little.
A little soothing. It's soothing to see it all and see how it's just, and it doesn't have to be 100% perfect. Like we don't need to take some sort of, electrical engineer tool to see if there's a centimeter.
Right.
Oh, a level is what you don't need to take a level to it.
Right. Okay. So you just want to make sure, like when you put it in the freezer, you guys, you just want to make sure that your shelf is really straight wherever you put it. Like one of the shelves in my freezer kind of tilts back a little bit. And so that would make it an uneven surface. So you just want to make sure when you put it in your freezer that you have it in there level. And then when you open it up, just do the Kathy technique with the spoon and level it out. And then this is so easy. So there's
Say
just a
one thing,
little,
Tammy.
yeah.
It's just that I've had some that got askew in my freezer.
Yeah.
And so it was like this. I still was able to scrape it level. So I just don't want anyone to look at it and go, oh no, I need to melt it and start over again. You can still fix it. Even if it,
Okay.
I mean, not if it froze like that, but if it's got a little bit of angle on it.
Yeah. Yeah. And so then you're just going to push the paddle latch on the lid to open up that opening that's in the middle. And I learned this from watching Kathy's video. And then you put it in there and it's secure. It has a little bit of wobble to it, and that's supposed to be like that. And then when you put your pint into the cup, it has these little like feet on here, and you've just got to set them in there so that it drops down in. And then you're going to put the lid on. And click it into place. And you just heard that little click and you saw Kathy do it there. And then just to put it on the machine, it just goes straight in. And again, you guys, I watched Kathy's video like 2 or 3 times to make sure I was doing it right. And then you just pull it towards the right and it lifts it up and it puts it in place. And now that the shaft that's in here that's going to drive that blade, it has a magnet on it and it grabs a hold of it. And then we're just going to look at here. It says, of course, this is the off on button down here. And then up here, it says install. And
if it's blinking, if you turn, let's say you had it turned on and you put your pint first, it's going to be blinking because it's like, your pint is not installed with all of these things. It can also just stay on if for some reason you forgot to put your blade in there, or if your blade fell off or something like that.
Okay, so it's kind of goof proof is what you're telling us.
Yes.
Okay, so for this particular one, I'm going to use the sorbet setting, and all I have to do is push the sorbet. And I know that I'm using sorbet because Kathy told me so in the recipe, which also.
If it's mostly fruit, you can use sorbet. So with the 5 buttons versus the 7 buttons, the 5 doesn't have a smoothie bowl or a gelato. At this point, I'm not using the gelato at all. It's made to not whip a lot of air into it. And if you have eggs, well, our ingredients aren't going to whip a lot of air into it anyhow.
Right.
So you don't need it. And the smoothie bowl, if you don't have a smoothie bowl, you can just use the sorbet because it's expecting. So with the sorbet, smoothie bowl, and light ice cream buttons, what happens is the blade spins around very fast. The rod goes down very slowly. So it's prepared for a harder frozen product. We will rarely use the ice cream button. The ice cream button really is made for that perfect blend that we were talking about earlier, the magical normal person ice cream that's with lots of fat and sugar. And so the blade is going to go slower, but it's going to come down faster. So this is almost like a drill bit. There's a guy on YouTube who took the cover off of this and the cover off of a Paco jet. Do you know what a Paco jet is?
No.
Okay. So a Paco jet, the low entry model is $4,000. The regular one is $10,000. It has it has some upgraded things because it's for commercial use. If you've ever gone to like a Michelin star restaurant and had an ice cream there, it was probably made in a Paco jet. Their, what is it? It's not trademark, copyright. Their thing ran out. Their
Patent.
That's it. Their patent ran out. And so Ninja is the first person, our first company to make something like it. So it's very similar. So it's a consumer model, $200. Like people think it's very expensive, but when you look at the entry-level Paco jet is $4,000.
Wow. Okay.
And so a guy took the cover off of a Paco jet and off of this and compared the mechanics. And the mechanics were quite well. And he's an engineer, so he makes things like that. So it was very educational. Obviously, I know nothing about that stuff, so I can't spout out any facts. But one of the things that was different is these settings, because basically there was not a change in speed for the rod and being separate from the going around in the blade. So he was actually saying that's kind of an improvement. Now, you wouldn't want to use this in your restaurant and make 100 pints of ice cream a day, probably.
Right.
Mine's been holding up pretty well. I've not been making that many, but sometimes I will, if I'm doing a photo shoot, I'll spend 5 or 6 pints that day. And I haven't had any issues with it at all.
That's awesome. Okay, I'm going to push the button. And does it take longer for some of the settings than others, or are they okay? So about how long is the sorbet one?
I haven't timed them, but it's usually around 3 minutes, I think.
I am shocked. I am shocked that you haven't timed me. You're slopping. Okay, here we go. And I'm going to let you guys let it run, let you hear it so you can see what happens. And so that you can also hear how noisy it is.
It is loud.
Yeah, I think it's loud.
Oh, your mic must have turned it down. Because I don't hear it at all yet. But all the things that are happening are kind of happening in the background with this thing coming down. And at some point, you may see something.
What?
Tell Kathy we can't hear. I gotta take it.
It's way louder than that.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes, Jay. Good morning. We live next to a nature preserve that's on the extreme west end of Diamond Oaks Park. And we're north. We're not on Diamond Oaks. We're in a development north of there. We can't even reach the golf course without going all the way out to Washington. Right? But we're adjacent to it, so there's a creek and a lot of nature. And then the nature pond, this pond, duck pond area, and the little stream. And every several years we get visitors, little black and white visitors. And one time before, they were kind of persistent, and the neighbor called, and we guys brought some taps, and then somebody came back and took it away. And so the odor has been really strong the last few weeks. Usually I can hear them and see them. I haven't physically spotted them, but I kind of let the rust get pretty tall out there, so they have a lot of places to hide. So I haven't actually sighted one, but we can sure smell it. So, Lionel, what's the code? Because we're in the middle of a residential area here, and the neighbors are all complaining about the stink and all that.
It's almost done.
You can hear me, right?
I can hear you now.
Okay. We just don't hear them. I don't hear the machine at all. I hear you, Tammy.
Oh, you couldn't hear the machine?
Okay. So I
hear the machine.
suspect that they're visiting
Gosh,
and
that's so
maybe
crazy.
overnighting.
Okay,
I
and
have
when
a
it's
shed
going,
that's
you
on
guys
it.
I do hear your husband.
Oh, let's
Oh, Tom.
rake stick.
Tom,
Yeah.
you're on your mic.
Oh. Hold on.
That's why I wasn't kind of explaining where the blade was in the pint, because I thought he was answering a question.
Oh, no,
But here, I'll tell you what, I will do mine real quick. So, and this way you can
Okay.
see how the blade comes out.
Okay.
You're not supposed to do this, but I'm going to do it on milkshake setting
Okay, just so
because
we can
it's
see it.
self-cleaning. Here we go. Let me move this up just a little bit. Sorry for all the dizzy
No worries.
and the clanks. of all the food props that I'm knocking over. So I'm going to turn it on. Oh, I unplugged it. I'm going to plug it in. The first thing you should know is if it doesn't work, see if it's plugged in, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now it's plugged in. I'm going to put the power on and the milkshake setting. Oh, it doesn't like something. There we go. It didn't like that it wasn't on when I did some of the things. And what's kind of cool about this, my mic is going to make it seem a little less loud, but you'll hear some of it. And you're going to see the blade come down. It'll take, there it is. It's about in there now. And you'll hear it, see it as it hits the water. So see how you can see the rod a little bit? It's not super easy to see, but you can tell. There's the blade.
That's a good visual because then we can really see what happens with the blade.
Yeah, and there's 4 little things up at the top by the install button. And so it lets you know when it starts to come up because you can't see it when it's in the pint. You can see it now. And I would like to tell you when you can do this and maybe why you don't need to.
Okay.
Okay. Sure.
Okay, everybody, the skunk situation is resolved.
Okay.
We live right next to a nature preserve and we've got skunks. And so the city is.
They're not going to do anything. They just say, use
Yeah.
repellent, and because the nature preserve is for the skunks, and so there are neighbors.
Yeah.
Unless they're causing damage.
Okay, so she's showing something.
Okay, well, I just
That's
wanted
okay. And I'm sorry. That's why I didn't say anything because I thought you were answering a question on this live about the nature preserve.
No, I was on a phone call. So
you see how everyone really worries about the thing that comes up here. Ninja says it's self-cleaning. It also says if you try to put it in water and stuff, you could void your warranty. So you don't ever need to do this. A. So let's just say it. B, if you're doing it, do it with water and do it on the milkshake setting if you can't help yourself. But I made, oh my God, since the last time I've done, well, actually, I don't think I've done it with this one, but I've made at least 10 pints. Do you see? And I did chocolate. So let me
And the water, and what you're showing us is that the water is clean.
Yeah, the water's completely clean.
Yeah. So the shaft what she's talking about, you guys, is that shaft that comes down and moves the blade. Ninja says that it's self-cleaning as it brings itself back up inside the machine. So you could take a wet paper towel and wipe the tip of it.
And you should.
Yeah.
You should, because every once in a while, if you're using like crushed pineapple, you get a little piece of pineapple stuck up in there. And unless you take your head and come and look. So I have a bunch of little paper towels that are perfectly sized that I use, and I just have a stack of them because of how many I'm spinning.
Yeah.
And so just make sure this is clean. And you could use a little bit of lightly soapy water when you first get it in case there's a little bit of oil. I didn't have that with either of my machines.
No, there wasn't any on mine.
No, but I mean, people really, really worry, and they're making up horror stories in their mind. And they're like, well, someone asked me today, how is it self-cleaning? I don't know. I didn't design it, but I can prove that it cleaned itself.
Right. Absolutely. So then to get this off, you guys, there's a release lever over here that you push down that allows you to remove the pint. And then on here is also a button that you push, and Kathy covers all of this in the videos. So here's what it looks like.
And if it looked powdery, or it's hard for me, it's because my screen is far away. If it doesn't look as creamy as you want, this is the other thing people go, I paid $200 for a machine and I just got powder. Okay, that's because you didn't finish. If it's powdery right now, you've got a couple of things. You can add a couple of teaspoons of water. You could taste it. If it's not quite sweet enough, you could add a little date syrup in there. You can put a little bit of non-dairy milk. If it's just a little bit not where you want it, then you don't need to put anything in there. And there's a respin button particularly for that.
I think I would respin this. Would you respin this one?
Yeah.
Or not?
Here would be my secret trick, is that since I'm taking photos of ice cream, a lot of times I'm not respinning it, because by the time I get it scooped and everything, it's melted down a little bit. So if you're trying to take pictures, that's a great way to leave it. Most of us are not, and go ahead and respin it till it's exactly the way you want it. What happens if you overspin it and it's too soft? Put it back in the freezer. What happens if you don't eat all of it? Level it out wherever it is, put it back in the freezer. When you put it back out again, you don't use respin, which you might logically think, because now it's frozen again. So you have to use sorbet. That's beautiful.
Yeah, this is really pretty. So it was plenty creamy. It was just that very little top, but it's plenty creamy through there. So I know for like my banana peanut butter one, I did respin it just because I wanted it to be smoother and creamy, but this looks amazing. So I am going to go ahead and break my fast, because I don't usually eat till noon, but you know.
It's noon my time. It's 12:30 where I live.
There you go. I knew it was lunchtime someplace.
If you want to sit down. Ladies, we probably should take some questions. They're kind of backing up on us here. If we can
Absolutely. I love questions.
If you did just already address some of these.
Well, can I do my review first?
What do you think?
Oh my gosh. This is so delicious. You guys, this is strawberry pear.
Pepsi.
And you want to taste?
And you said you used some of the lavender balsamic in it.
And I used the lavender. I did. I used the lavender balsamic that I got from California Balsamic. And I thought, why did I order this? What am I ever going to use it for? Ta-da. This.
If it's flowery, Kathy has a use for it. So you just call me if it's lavender, rose. I just made camellia syrup. So we have a camellia plant. So I took the blooms and made syrup out of it.
Wonderful. Okay, Tom's going to go with the questions.
Okay, I pulled some of these from earlier, and then I made some notes of others, and then we'll go ahead and scroll. So just a real quick one that's on screen in front of me. What color is your purple looking creamy? What's the official
purple
name?
It is purple.
Purple.
Okay, all right.
And this one I got at they're having the colors at a lot of different places now, so you can find them for sure.
Okay, so back in the beginning, Jen was asking, can you make ice cream from sweet potatoes? Is there a sweet potato based recipe?
Yes, you can make it from sweet potatoes. I don't have a sweet potato recipe in the booklet, but I am getting ready to put one up. Also, you can make it from pumpkin puree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gloria wants to know, have you yet developed a plant-based Rocky Road creamy recipe?
That is also in the works. So like what's happened, so I've got 34 recipes that are going in this ebook, but then I have listed out the other night because I needed a break, and I'm obsessive, Tami, like we were talking, use your neurosis for the power of good. And I wrote out like another 120 ice cream flavors I want to develop in the next while.
Okay, so it's on
it will be here
on the list. Okay. Pam is asking, and maybe you guys covered this, and Tami had this issue initially as well, trouble releasing the cup after it's done, and having it catch and not want to come up. We discovered that you have to hold that button down while you're trying to turn it. So
there are a couple other things that can happen too. So like with me, when I'm doing photographs, so I'm washing this and coming back and washing this and coming back, that there can still be some water in here, and that can freeze it to it. So Ninja says you can wait 2 minutes. Like if you really can't do anything. Another thing is to try and release this and the other at the same time. But that is only a troubleshooting maneuver, and you will use it probably less than 5% of the time.
Okay, good to know.
I'm not sure if Pam meant the top cap or just releasing the main container out of the base. That was the button I was
Yeah.
referring to.
So I did discover that you need to hold this. Oh, can you put me back on? You need to hold this down while you're swinging that around and pulling it off for the release. And then I want to show you that since I'm going to put this back in the freezer, I've smoothed down the top, because here's the thing that you can do with this that I don't get to do when I make nice cream any other way. I get to respin it so that it's like freshly made. So you just smooth down the top so that it'll be level. You put your lid on it and label them. I learned this a long time ago, to label everything I put in the freezer, because similar items start to look the same once they're frozen and you can't determine what it is. And so I'll put this back in the freezer because we'll respin it when we go to have it again. Oh, and okay, I have a question for her. How much do you have to have in here to do a respin?
I have done it as little as this. So like a third.
Okay.
I've not done it when it's really, really tiny. So like at some point, so around the sides and the bottom, there is a part the blade doesn't get to, like millimeters. I mean, it's very tiny. And sometimes there's a little ice wall. So if I have an ice wall when I've done it, I scoop what I'm going to get from the middle.
Okay.
And then you can take a spoon, or I found out this thing, Elizabeth gave me these spurtles. It's a spurtle for oatmeal. And I can scrape this because it scrapes all the way down. I can scrape around and then level it off. And then you don't get the same kind of ice wall.
Okay.
You can also just run it under warm water. You could leave it out for 5 to 10 to 20 minutes, depending on how cold your freezer is. So as you play with this, you'll start to learn what you need to do. Maybe Tami needs no time out of the freezer and I need 15 minutes.
Yeah, because our freezers are all a little bit unique in the temperature. Okay, Tom's got another question.
I've got this question.
While you do that, I'm gonna go rinse my
Okay.
utensils.
So Pam's actual question was, when it's done, and I push the release button, the top doesn't twist, lower. Yeah. And I let it sit there a bit, and then I can turn and release it. What am I doing wrong? Still a newbie. So I think she's talking about that big button down on the lower left.
Yeah.
Like dropping the whole assembly down before you pull it off. So we discovered that that's the one you have to hold while you're trying to turn the cup.
Right. You do have to hold it while you're doing through the whole process of unscrewing it from the top.
Okay. In your course, do you address using, this is also from him, like she's confused with the buttons like sorbet versus smoothie. What's the difference between the different, there's 7 settings on there. Is it time, speed? What's going on with all the different buttons?
Yes, I have a whole video about the buttons, and there's going to be a little chart on what to spin what on. But honestly, it's not as complicated as it seems. Like going back to if you have an Instant Pot and you see, oh, the new Instant Pot has, I'm trying to see what's over here. Like sometimes it has a bean setting. And you think, oh, I can't make beans in mine. I have to get the one that has the bean button. But you don't, it's just a setting that's made. And so a lot of these are so similar, like the sorbet and the smoothie bowl.
Okay.
Can you use it? Of course you can.
All right.
Yeah.
In your existing Facebook group or in a separate one, is there a Ninja Facebook Q&A and sharing of recipes and sharing of successes and failures? Facebook page?
At this point right now, it's all in the course because this course has been developed in the past couple of months. So I've been really spending all my time. I'm going to see if I'm going to make a new Facebook group. You can join Vegan Recipes Cooking with Kathy Hester, which is my big Facebook group, and you can ask questions in there. With the course, there's going to be a whole live Q&A, plus you're able under every video to ask me questions and I respond.
Okay. All right, back on the cleaning conversation, besides water, are there any other foods that we should not use to avoid breaking the machine? Like
It's not an ice shaver. It's not an ice shaver. It's not a blender. It
Oh.
makes creamy things. Like I could put, and actually, I'll just tell you this because this is going to be an experiment. As soon as this book is done, is I'm going to put hummus in here, freeze it, and see how that works to make it creamy. Because in the Paco Jet, there's creamy recipes. So in fact, they do a lot of mousses and pâtés. So it has to be solid. So I can't just throw some strawberries, frozen strawberries and milk in here and turn this on and make a smoothie. That will break the machine. Also, I can't just throw in a bunch of frozen fruit with nothing else in there because there's places in between. It has to be a solid mass, and ice is too hard. So the way I'm looking at it right now, because I'm trying to push some of those limits a little bit, I'm finding with whole food plant-based recipes, as long as I'm using something that has a lot of fiber, like pears, fruit, dates even, that is helping create it where it's not freezing so solid, because this is almost like a drill press is what they say. I don't know what a drill press is, but you know, some machinery with something pushing down,
Yeah.
it can only take so much. So you don't make shaved ice, don't make smoothies, but you can make a milkshake. No, you make smoothie bowls. Cheryl's over here. You can make smoothies. No, you can't. Do not listen to her. You can make smoothie bowls, which is actually, I think it's Dr. Greger that says smoothie bowls are better digested and nutrients are kind of taken in better. Plus ice cream for breakfast.
We're all in. Yeah.
I'm in on that. So that's the thing. And with a milkshake setting, it's going so much slower that if you put, let's say, frozen strawberries and milk in there, then the frozen strawberries could break this. However, a few scoops of ice cream and some non-dairy milk, it'll make the perfect milkshake.
Yeah, great. So we want to remind everybody that there is a max fill on the pint. And so you want to make sure you don't go past that also. You want to make sure you have that level surface when you're doing it. And then really, it's so easy. So the second
one thing,
yeah.
One of the reasons you don't want to is so like if it gets too full, stuff can kind of come up through here, and that's what starts to gunk up things as well. And when you clean, and I may need to, here we go. You do want to clean this out. I take this out. I don't do it every single time and wash it with some soapy water. It's not super easy to get out. And when I put it back in, it's not as easy as the Instant Pot one. So I press it in kind of like this. It's looser. And that's why, because it's looser, sometimes it can get some things under here, but it's not a big worry.
Okay, good to know. So the another recipe that I made that's in Kathy's class is vanilla frozen yogurt. So I'm real excited about this because this will be super nutritional for the grandkids. You know, it'll get in. We try to make what we feed them be really nutritional because they eat such a small amount. And so I wanted to show you guys what yogurt I used. If you make your own yogurt, great. Kathy probably does. Do you make your own yogurt?
I do sometimes, but with the experiments, I've been using different kinds of store-bought just in case. But
okay. So this one is one that my daughter approves of for the kids because it's one of the cleanest ones. It's just almond milk, water, almonds, starch, some citrus fiber, some xanthan gum, and active cultures. So it doesn't have any sugar.
You can't really see the label. Can you hold that closer?
it's
Hold it up
Kite
close.
Hill.
It's
Kite
the
Hill
Kite-
unsweetened, right?
Yep, the Kite Hill unsweetened. I mean, it's at my regular grocery store. It's at Sprouts. It's at Whole Foods. You know, you can find the Kite Hill products everywhere. So, but they also do have like sweetened one. You could get a vanilla one if you wanted to. And so I'm going to have Tom actually move my Ninja so that we can keep answering questions. But I want to show you that it did get a volcano when I froze it. Okay.
I'd rather people see that because I think they see once it doesn't happen and then they think they've done something wrong.
All of mine that I have frozen have
Almost
all had, yeah, they've all had volcanoes. And so we'll just smooth this out. And I used a little bit of vanilla powder as well as vanilla extract. Just because I thought, oh, I want to see the little
backs.
bits in there. And so I used a little bit of each actually for this. And I'm like you, Kathy, I bought my vanilla extract at Costco.
It was so cheap. I looked over, I'm like, oh, I can't afford that. And I was like, oh, that's cheaper than the other one I just got.
Yeah.
And one thing I want to say, especially for since all of you guys are probably whole food plant-based,
yeah,
I had a tester who was looking at vanilla powder and she's like, well, how is vanilla powder different than vanilla sugar? Because where she went and looked, it had sugar in the vanilla powder. Vanilla powder should be 100% vanilla bean.
Yep. You've got to really be careful about that. A lot of times in the grocery store, the vanilla powder that's in the spice section is going to have sugar in it. So read your labels. This is just ground vanilla bean.
Nice.
Just, so you can get that on Amazon. We have it in our Amazon store. Okay, so I'm not going to be OCD about this
I'm not judging. I'm joining along. So
okay,
yeah, and
so
see, that's fine.
It's better, huh? And then again, you just drop it in here and just make sure that it clicks, that it drops down in there where it's supposed to be. And I have my blade in my lid, and I'm going to put my lid on, and it clicked. And then Tom, I'm going to let you move this over there. So does this also get run on sorbet?
I would run that on light ice cream.
Light ice cream.
Would it hurt anything if you ran it on sorbet? No. You could do either one. I think I just do it to try and get people to think, oh, more creamy, less sugar. So light ice cream was developed pretty much for the keto people. I see a lot of keto recipes using some sweeteners that I haven't seen before, or stevia, monk fruit, things like that.
Okay.
It works just great for us because we have, it basically means for a creamy mixture that freezes a little harder.
Okay. And so light ice cream for this one, Tom.
Okay.
You're going to push the light ice cream. So you have to turn it on and then light ice cream. Really cool. Okay. Do we have more questions? Tom? Do I have more questions to answer? If not, we can talk.
The scroll is kind of where it was.
Okay.
We've caught the older ones.
So you can definitely also do the banana.
Here.
Nice cream.
Tracy Reese.
Tracy Reese wants to know, do you use a bag of frozen strawberries and a can of pears? For this recipe, it was fresh strawberries.
But you could use frozen. So
you could use light ice cream.
Here's the thing that I would do. So I used fresh strawberries when I did it as well, just because I had fresh strawberries. You'll see conflicting information in the Ninja booklets. One says you can't use frozen fruit, but what they mean is you can't use just frozen fruit and not fill in the edges. But a lot of times, if I was going to do that and have something that's frozen and something that's not, because I want to mash it together, you can either mash it with like a masher in the pint, the pears and the strawberries. So you might want to thaw the frozen strawberries. You could throw both of them into a blender and then throw them in here too. That's another option. But yes, you can totally use frozen strawberries.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Because for me, I can hear the really loud machine.
I don't hear it at all. We didn't hear it at all before either.
Okay. So I use the peanut butter tube, peanut powder, because this is lower fat than using the real peanut butter. So this is more processed. Yes, it is. And I realize that. But if I want to get the peanut butter flavor without all of the, here we go, without all the fat, then I will use this. And it gives.
I have a recipe that actually is a chocolate peanut butter recipe that uses like a peanut butter powder, just for that reason too.
Okay, great. And then you can also get the almond as well, which is really fun and tasty too. So
I got a cashew version because I want to try making some cashew milk. I'm trying to think, it might be, actually it is PB2 as well.
oh yeah,
I got a cashew powder and this is older, but they had sent me a pumpkin spice one.
wow, nice. So you guys, when you're looking at these, either at the store, like I think I got this at Whole Foods. This I got on Amazon, and we have it in our Amazon store. You just have to look at the ingredients. Like this is just blanched almonds, and this is just peanuts. And so you do want to look at them and make sure they don't have added salt and added sugar to them, because a lot of them do have different things added into them. Do you also have some, oh, thank you, honey. Do you also have any coffee flavored ones?
I do. Actually, I'm going to be putting Chef AJ's Frappuccino. I'm making it fit into this. She, with her
Nice.
permission, is going to be in the book. We were just talking because she asked for a specific brown rice variety. You can use that. And you can also use like in any of the recipes. So if you saw something that used cocoa powder and you wish it was mocha, maybe it called for 1 cup of non-dairy milk, you could do like half a cup non-dairy milk and half a cup brewed Ticino, Dandy, any of those things, or cold brew coffee if you do caffeine.
Yeah, nice. Because I love like coffee ice cream from back in the day. And then for my milk, if I'm using milk, which there was in the frozen yogurt one, I like the Joy, and this does have more fat in it because this is just purely ground almonds. But if you wanted to make it less fat, you could do oat milk. And I know that Kathy has recipes for making your own oat milk if you want to as well. But I'm not that great. I just use these.
There's nothing wrong with it. And in fact, I've decided this week that I'm kind of reworking some of the recipes so you can pick bases, because some people don't want to use cashew. So if it's a cup and a quarter of water and 2 tablespoons of cashew butter, which could be Joy as well, or a quarter cup of cashews, or you could use a quarter and a cup of oat cream. And there's going to be an oat cream recipe, like a nut seed cream recipe, date syrup, date paste. And I'm going to give you an option for making simple syrups. This probably wouldn't fit this crowd, but some people only use coconut sugar. So I want to give them a way to also have something to incorporate.
Oh, thank you for including cashew substitutions, because our grandson has nut allergy and he is allergic to cashews. And so we can't even have them in our house. So thank you for that. That's one thing I love about your recipes is you are so inclusive. You're like, well, if you don't do fat, do this. If you don't do nuts, do this. If you don't, I love that you do that, because it makes it so that everybody can use your recipes.
Well, and I'm very passionate about believing everybody deserves delicious food and everybody can have it,
Yeah.
And one of the things that I love about the Ninja Creami is that I feel like, especially the whole food plant-based, people get really left out of any kind of store-bought ice cream, because even sorbets have sugar in them.
Right.
Right. And so it's kind of banana ice cream or none. And I feel like this opens up all the different flavors, all the things that you remember, and gives you the textures. And again, there's some other additives you can use. At this point, I'm not using them at all. I might experiment, but things that are like, you'll see if you go out into the big giant world Ninja Creami groups, like they're using different gums and different things. They're trying to reduce the ice crystal size just a wee, but also you can just respin it. And I think kind of like, I have to eat gluten-free. So if I have a gluten-free vegan muffin that's oil-free, I'm not going to complain that it's a little bit mushy in the center. I'm just going to be like, oh my God, that tastes so good.
You and me both, because I'm gluten-free too. Okay, so I want to show you guys that this one for me turned out a little bit powdery. Can you see that? And so what I'll do is I will just put it back on there and do the respin, right?
Yes. If it looks
then-
really, really powdery, and I think you can go ahead and do the original spin again as you get
Okay.
used to it, or it is perfectly fine to do respin 3 times, 4 times if you need to the first batch to see, and then next time you'll know, oh, when it looks like that, maybe I should do a bigger spin first.
Okay, so would you would just do it on the light ice cream again?
It's creamy around the edges though, right?
It is creamy around the edges. It's just in the middle.
I would do a respin for that one. So usually when I see it, it's like it looks like powdery snow all the way on top. And if I spoon it, it's just powdery everywhere. Like that just happened to me recently. I did a watermelon and cantaloupe. I just smushed it all together and put it in there.
Yeah.
And so what I did is it was super powdery. I took my spoon, put a little bit of non-dairy milk in there and respun it again on sorbet, and it was perfect.
What do you think causes that? What causes it to come out kind of powdery?
It has to do with the blend of the mixture as far as fat and sugar, how cold it froze, how much liquid, like there could be different liquid in Kite Hill yogurt than the liquid I used. It could be, so also there's nothing wrong in it. And since I look at all of this as an experimentation, if I use a different peanut butter powder than you do, it's changing this whole chemical composition, which is
Right.
why we're not thinking like the ice cream people. So since we're not thinking like the ice cream people, it probably isn't going to come out perfect the first time. But there's no effort in just a tablespoon of non-dairy milk from the fridge, put it back on. There you go. And the more you get used to it, it has to do with how cold your freezer freezes, the sugar, fat, and I'm calling it fiber ratio. I'm just making this up. This isn't real science. This is Kathy's Ninja Creami pseudoscience.
I love it.
But, you know, in theory, without some of that fiber, I feel like it would freeze harder and would cause the machine to break.
Okay. Not a creamy question, but Tiffany wants to know about the shirt that you're wearing. She loves all of your shirts. Each one has so much personality.
Look, there's stuff on the back too.
Oh, cute.
It's my Haunted Mansion shirt. And and when I actually bought a shirt that was falling apart. So this is really, it's not from where I've washed it for 10 years. I loved it so much. And like the bottom part is like, look, I'm like, this is going to not last long. But
That is so funny.
I saw someone say, you know, there's always Christmas in July. I saw somebody say Halloween in July, and I'm like, oh, nobody told me. And Halloween's my favorite holiday, so I've been feeling kind of spooky.
I love it. That's so cute. Somebody wanted to know if I'll share my banana peanut butter chocolate chip one. Yeah, it was really easy. I just did, you know, what I watched Kathy do for the banana. You take your container and you peel your really spotty, ripe bananas, because the more spotted they are, the sweeter they are. And we're making ice cream. So if we don't want to have to add sweetener to it, then we want those bananas to be really sweet. And so I just break them up in here. Kathy uses an avocado masher, which is small enough to fit in the container. I don't have one, but I will get me one. And then I just use a fork and just mash them. And then for the grandkids, I added about 1/4 cup of natural peanut butter. For me, I just do 1/4 cup of this peanut butter powder. And then my bananas did not bring it all the way up, and I didn't have any more ripe. So I just added a little bit of almond milk to it to bring it up to the fill line. And I just, stirred it up all right in here. Didn't put it in the blender or anything. And then just froze it. And then after it, I did it on the Ninja. And then I made a little well in the middle. And I dropped these unsweetened chocolate chips. These are from Trader Joe's. And these are just made from cacao. And they have no added oil. They do have fat because they naturally have fat. So they do have fat in them. And I just added a couple tablespoons to it and then did the add-in. And it just stirs them up in there. And it was absolutely delicious.
And if you're not near Trader Joe's, you can get an unsweetened chocolate bar and take like your chef's knife and shave it. When you cut it, it'll look like you're shaving it and it breaks up. And I don't know what it is about the sensation of running a knife through a chocolate bar that's just like super satisfying. Like that's like, do you want to go to Disney or do you want to cut up chocolate?
That's a tough choice. I know exactly what you're talking about. What is it about that?
I don't know, but it's like it slides, but it gives just a little, I don't know. You guys have to try this because I want to know if it brings you as much joy as it does, obviously me and Tami. So I'm glad you understand that because it makes me feel a little bit crazy talking.
Yeah, I can totally relate. And now I want to go do that.
And you can do, if you only have chocolate chips, be careful, but you can do that with a large chef's knife too. It's not the perfect sensation, but it still feels really awesome.
Yeah. And it does recommend that you use like mini chocolate chips, not big pieces of chocolate. Oh, so we could do, a mint chocolate chip.
In the book, there's a kale mint chocolate chip recipe.
Wonderful.
So that's why it's green. We're not using any weird stuff.
Yeah. Great. Yes.
Earlier, did you guys have a chance to catch Gloria's question about when it's powdery, about adding a little bit of flavored plant-based milk? Can you use any type of plant-based milk to address that powdery issue? Did you cover that?
Yeah.
You did. Okay.
Yeah, and you can use any kind of plant-based milk. If let's say you're doing a sorbet, you could add a little bit of water at that point because that's not the same thing as freezing a block of ice. Though I shy away from all the water things. So even though you can buy pears in water and pour the water off and get rid of it, I tend towards it in pear juice just to make sure that we're being as mindful as we can about not being too hard on the Ninja Creami.
Okay.
Yeah, and you could even put a little sweetener. Let's say you tasted it because it's going to taste a little less sweet after it's frozen. And maybe when it's powdery, taste it. And then you might be like, that's not sweet at all. You could put a little bit of date syrup or date paste in there too.
Whoops, over here.
Yeah. And that's one of the date pastes I use. And they have some, where I am, they have a different brand at my Costco and it's significantly cheaper. Also Home Goods and TJ Maxx often has date syrup cheap.
Oh, good.
A couple of, there's been a few questions throughout the chat feed, so I just want to cover broad sweep here. In the show notes is our affiliate link for Kathy's courses, and in particular this course, the Ninja Creami course. So that's down in the show notes. I did post it in the chat there somewhere, but it kind of goes by. And also we have our affiliate links for the Ninja Creami both on our Factory Direct link, which is they have always some kind of different campaign that comes and goes over the course of every month or two. Right now, until the end of the month, it's Christmas in July, and the code is Mary20, all caps.
For a 20%
for
discount.
20% off their retail, which I believe is $229. I also listed our Amazon page. If you've got Amazon points burning a hole in your account that you want to spend a little bit more money there, but you could be getting Amazon points for that. And so that's what's going on with getting the course and or getting the Creami. And then as Kathy mentioned, it's available in other outlets as well, but we're responsible for our Factory Direct account and for what we can do for folks on Amazon. So
if you're
Can
watching,
I add one more thing about Amazon too? So you can still go through their Amazon link. So once you're there on your desktop, at the top where you see the drop down, it says books, groceries, whatever. There's Amazon warehouse, and that's returns often. Sometimes people just say the box is dented and they return it. And in fact, you can sort of see part of I have two different food processors I got on Amazon warehouse actually last week that I'm going to be testing on. One is the Breville, that because it was 25% off, and on Amazon warehouse, I got it for $225. So sometimes you can get this for, $130, $150. So
I think I saw for 149, and we do advertise that also even in our newsletter. I think I took it out of this one. We, on the VitaMix, we do the refurbished one. And what these companies do for those is they're reusing the main housing and the motor assembly, but the things that come in contact with food, those get replaced. So the plastic cups and stuff will be like brand new. So if you're not opposed to having an open box, that is a good way. And like Kathy said, you can just use that link, but then go and check on other available machines and look at the refurbished, because it will be very much like a new machine in a way to save a few more extra bucks.
And
So,
since it was
Kathy?
Amazon Prime Day, there's going to be a lot of returns. And a lot of times it's just going to be people who literally say, oh, I ordered 4 ice cream makers. I'm not even going to use the Ninja Creami, and just send it back. So if it says like new, all the like new stuff I've gotten was still in its original wrappings, never been taken
It
out.
was simply a return. Okay,
Yeah.
great.
So somebody wanted to know if they can use their immersion blender. Oh, I'm over here now. Their immersion blender in this, as long as, it's big enough.
Yeah, you totally can. One of the things I was doing, I have a Ninja smoothie bowl blender. And so I started out, because it's so close, but it's not quite the perfect size, but it's the perfect size if you don't mind adding a little non-dairy milk. So I kind of started doing that. And a lot of people use an immersion blender. I don't know why I don't, but I don't want to, I splash things everywhere. So I think that's why I don't. But if you are a careful immersion blender person, you probably will do well.
Yeah, because then you wouldn't have to dirty another container. You could just use your immersion blender right in here. That'd be great. All right. Lisa says, all right, I signed up. When is Kathy's course? Is it in pre-recorded modules, or is there a specific set of dates?
Oh, I should have known you were going to ask me about dates. I should, okay. It's an experience. So right now in pre-order, and I have the worst time writing up about this too, because I don't think anything quite like this exists. So since you bought, you're going to get a thing that says you can log in on Podia, and then you're going to get a welcome video. It's going to kind of explain some things. It's going to give you all the dates of everything. August 1st on Monday is when the book should be added there, and I'll send an email out to everyone so you know. But you can access all the videos and comments there's been a lot of conversation the past couple of weeks. I'm trying to remember the dates. I think it's this. Do you guys have a computer up? Let me see.
Yeah, Tom.
I have the course. Let me go to your course.
If you could go to kathyhester.podia.com and then look at the Ninja Creami experience. Yes. If you go to see more details. And so I give you a little video. I talk about the class, but if you go down, it'll tell you the timeline of when you get what. I just don't want to tell people it's the wrong. And so I've got quotes from recipe testers, quotes from other people who've done. So what's included? Pre-order. Here we go. When do I get what? So as soon as you pre-order, you get all those videos, you get access to me, and you get 4 recipes from the book that's coming out. There are also topping recipes. There are a couple of topping recipes that are not whole food plant-based, and they state it in the title. One does use coconut oil. It's for magic shell. And I'm including that because maybe you're making it for your kids or a party or people who are not whole food plant-based, but it's very clear. And then I have a chocolate syrup that is whole food plant-based. Same thing with a caramel sauce, one that's not, one that is. And then if you scroll down a little bit more, then it says the book, I think, is
I'm gonna get right there in just a second.
Okay. And the book is coming out August 1st. And then there's a Q&A on a Saturday at 1. August 13th is the live Q&A event. So it's just going to be like a live private YouTube link. So you're going to be able to chat and ask me questions, and we'll talk about all that. I'll also go over any questions that I'm noticing coming up a lot. That's why I wanted to wait a little while. And then August 20th, which I believe is a Thursday, it'll be at 4 p.m. All these times are Eastern Standard Times. Those will be in the emails too. There's going to be a live class where we're talking about how to customize your own Ninja Creami creations.
And that's not all.
So, and yeah, then you're getting, I think there's already some links to some Facebook groups. There's a vegan group. There's a whole food plant-based group that's just starting up. I think there's 3 or 4 people in it. I may or may not start one. I'm still on the fence because and also anybody who is either like, who is this Kathy Hester lady? And do I really want to watch her? Go to my YouTube channel, look up Kathy Hester. There's actually the banana nice cream video is up there. You can see what it looks like to learn from me, what kind of detail I try to put in this and how I try to make you feel at ease. And you know, if you're learning and it feels a good fit, then join in. It's a really inexpensive price. It's $47 for all that on the pre-order. I'm waiting to see, the price is supposed to go up after pre-order, after the ebook comes out, but we'll see. We'll see. I hate to do that, but I wanted to give everybody a really good deal. So one of my classes alone costs $35. One of my books alone would cost $25. And then you're adding in a whole video class, which would be like, I don't know what, another $50 and another live event.
Yeah, with the live Q&A and the live cook along with you and the I mean, it's a bargain. You guys have no idea how many hours this woman has spent you know, recipe testing, and how long it takes to type up all those recipes. And she has the most incredible, beautiful photographs of everything too, and all of that is just, it's, you know, you end up not getting paid very much for your hourly wage, you know, because of all the hours. And you have the ability to go back and rewatch those videos as many times as you need to. Like, you know, I binge watched through them. And then when I got ready to go make my first batch, I went back to the first video of make these first 2 recipes with me, because I thought I don't want to mess this up, you know, so I'll just do it right along. I can put Kathy on you were in the kitchen with me on my birthday and you didn't even know it.
I know. So I did say happy birthday. And that's one of the things, I think that people feel more comfortable kind of cooking along.
Yeah.
And that's why, that's part of the reason why I changed it from just an ebook to adding that. And with some of these things, it just helps to see it happen. Like, it's one thing for me to say, level off your volcano, right? And it's another thing to see a volcano, go, oh, that's what that is. Oh, no, it's not so hard.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Okay, Tom's got another question for us.
Okay, Duvalin Court. I don't know how to say that, but that's an attempt. Do you have links for more pints? Yes, I'm on the wrong.
You're not on.
I'm on the right camera.
Are you on?
Yeah, we're up there.
Oh, there we are.
In the show notes, we have the Amazon links to our small appliance page, which shows the Creami and the order of 2 extra pints next to it. If you're going to the factory direct promotion and ordering the Ninja there, go ahead while you're there and add the extra pints to your order, because then you won't have a shipping charge on those, because you will have minimum shipping. So the time to buy extra pints is when you're buying your machine, to avoid an extra shipping charge.
But I don't discount applies
But
to
but the 20
accessories.
Yeah, when we bought ours direct and we got a discount off the machine, but we did not get a discount off the extra pints.
Right.
Or if you're a Prime member, you can just grab extra pints solo from the Amazon link. So the link I put in, there may be one that takes you straight to pints. The other one takes us to our small appliance page. And because of this show, those two items are at the very top of that small appliance page, and the link takes you directly to it. So
Another thing that you might want to mention is on Amazon, there's two different ones. It's the same model. One comes with 1 pint, which is not enough. One comes with 2 pints. So if you got over Prime Day or some other time, the one with 1 pint, you're fine. Don't return it. However, what I would do at that point, instead of dealing with shipping and stuff, if you have a Bed Bath and Beyond, they're going to have 2 pints. I think they're like $19.99. Get your 20% coupon, and that's we got 4 of ours that way. And I think Cheryl might have gotten me 4 other. No, and then for a while they had where you could order 4 for $29 on Amazon. It's gone. It might come back. It was gone for like 6 months. It came back. So keep an eye out for that.
yeah, I was all over the map looking for researching it. And it was all about what pints came with it. And I was looking at Amazon. I was like, we settled on the factory direct. Ultimately, I was just sure I was going to get everything on Amazon, but if it worked out for us in that moment in time, that it was a better price from factory direct. So yeah, it's ever changing, but extra pints are easily available from what Kathy mentioned and otherwise. So let's see. If we have missed, okay, Mona is asking, does Kathy take, when you go in to purchase the card, do you do Venmo or is it the credit card? You know,
It's through Podia. I think they just added Apple and Google Pay. There's Stripe and there's PayPal. So if Venmo is in any of those, I don't know.
PayPal, Venmo, it works very much like PayPal. So Mona, if you've got access to PayPal, we have had that used some. But like you said, the company that is providing the software to where the course lives has their payment processes. And so Kathy will have available what their system allows. But if PayPal is an option, that's a good one and is very similar to Venmo. So
if there is no other option, you can email me at kathyhester@gmail.com and talk to me offline, and I can see what I can do.
okay,
I probably won't get back to you until tomorrow because I teach a class in a few hours.
Yeah. Colleen is saying that she doesn't think that $47 is very much money for everything that's in the course.
I want everyone to be able to join in and feel comfortable. And there are going to be more books and things after this, but yeah, it's not very much. And there's part of me that's like, oh, but then there's another part of me that I just want to make it super accessible.
Yeah. And it's great. I mean, if you're going to invest in this machine that's going to cost you between $150 to $200, you want to get everything out of it that you can, and you want to learn how to use it. And Kathy has already done all the experimenting for us.
Kathy is a master teacher.
She is
taking the class.
Yeah,
we're taking
absolutely. So, and I have to tell everybody, I first had our creamy taste at Chef AJ's. You know, she moved here to Northern California. We're practically neighbors. And we went over to her house. She said, do you have an ice cream scoop? And I said, yeah. She said, bring it. So I knew something was going on. And so I was like, oh my goodness, here's another machine I need.
And I hear that a lot. And I think that was right after, because Chef AJ called me and I did a video with her because she doesn't like to read instructions.
Right.
So she was like, because I'm like, oh, it's easy. And she's like, yeah, just call with me. And so it was like 15 minutes and she had made 2 pints. It was super easy. But
yeah, and we got to enjoy them. It was wonderful.
Linda is asking, can you buy the ebooks separately? We have that come up from time to time on our beautiful chopped salad course. And the PDF, although it's very complete, it's 44, 45 pages, supports the 13 video modules. It's 2.5 hours of instruction. So it's the left and the right hand of kind of the same animal. So we actually don't split ours up. But if, what are you doing on this course?
My answer right now is it's not available now. It could be available later, or I may be doing a different ebook version on Kindle.
Saying that was our thought, that
we might do
a standalone ebook would be kind of a different product, and so we plan on doing something with that.
Okay.
And then another question is from Jeanette.
Hey, Jeanette.
And Jeanette's one of our locals here. She came in late. And she's wondering, did we compare the Champion juicer as far as flavor or texture to the Ninja Creami? I know you did talk about that initially.
A little bit. So here's the thing. The Champion juicer makes incredible soft serve. And we can make a ton of it. Like we have made it in real time for like 20 people when we've had like one of our in-person classes here in our house. And it works great, and it makes a soft serve. What we like about the Ninja is that we can make scoopable. So you can actually, it comes out more like ice cream and less like soft serve. So you can actually scoop it with an ice cream scoop, and it's more cold. Would that be the right description, Kathy?
It's frozen solid like an ice cream, but not solid like whole food plant-based ice cream is after you've left it in the freezer for a while, right?
Right.
Because it's being spun to the perfect consistency that you want.
Yeah. And
Chef,
so
you mentioned the Champion juicer is going out of business.
It is. It's going out of business. We feel very fortunate that we have one, and we're glad we do. And, and I do occasionally use it for making juice as well. The other thing about the Ninja that you don't have the option of doing with the Champion is if you don't eat it all, you can put it back in the freezer, level it off, freeze it, and then you can respin it. And it's like you just made brand new ice cream again. And so you can do that. Also, if you get extra containers, then you can prep those ahead of time. You can have them in your freezer. You can do a big batch of a lot of the same if you want. Or if you want to set up like an ice cream sundae bar, then you can do different flavors because it only takes 3 to 4 minutes for the Ninja Creami to spin it and turn it into ice cream. So you can, in real time, you can make a lot of different flavors, let everybody taste them. What you have left over can go back in the freezer and then you can respin it. And so
it's okay if it's melted. Just because I know that's going to be a question too.
Yeah.
What if it's really, really melted? Well, it's basically returning to its original state before you froze it to begin with. So it's good to go. What would not be good to go would be to leave it out in the heat for several hours and then put it back because that will kill you. That has nothing to do with the Ninja, but the food safety rules still apply. But other than that, it's okay if it melts.
I just love how you say that. And that will kill you. Just saying.
I take no responsibility for that.
Okay, ladies, Tracy Reese is can you restate what size of crushed pineapple you use? Because it comes in small chunks, medium chunks, and large chunks. What size?
You can use all of them.
Oh, okay.
You can use any of them. I tend to, and this is, once again, this is my little OCD peeking out, is sometimes I will put crushed pineapple in. Sometimes I will still blend the crushed pineapple because in the little feet at the bottom, they're hollow. So some of the little pieces will get stuck in there and it won't be as smooth. It will only be 99.9% smooth. So I will often blend it, but you can put chunks. Just make sure any chunks you're putting is under the liquid. And secret ninja trick is if it's a few little floating icebergs of like blueberries or pineapple, those will scrape too when the time comes to scrape it level.
Okay. Well, and the pineapple is fibrous. It's one of the more fibrous fruits that we would use. So I didn't blend mine when I made it. I just put it in here and just did it, and it really turned out really creamy and smooth. So if you're not OCD like Kathy, it'll still turn out really, really good. But see, I think too, that just shows what a perfectionist you are, you know, when it comes to making food. And you are also like, I don't know, you must have like this just incredible sense of taste. Because like I watched you like smell two things together and you're like, oh yeah, that'll go together. I'm like, how did she do
You
that?
can do that too. The smell thing is real. I promise you. So like if, and I've done this in an in-person setting in the before times, is that I like passed two things around that matched, and then no one still believed that they knew. They thought I just passed two that matched. I
Okay.
passed two that didn't match, and everybody's like, whoa.
Okay.
I do smell a lot. I smell as much as I taste. And there's some people who seem to think I have a special sniffer, but I don't think I do. But you can kind of get those things. And that also can make you not afraid. Let's say you wanted to add cardamom to your pineapple. You're like, that seems like an idea. And then you just take the cardamom and the pineapple, take it away, and it gets to your taste buds, because smell is part of taste too, you know, and you can kind of, you will immediately go, I don't want that to happen in my mouth, or,
Okay, I'm going to try that. I'm going to try it because I saw you do it and I thought, oh my gosh, she is like magic. She's got like cooking magic going on. Okay, you have another one. If you use canned peaches, Carrie wants to know, if you use canned peaches, do you have to smash the peaches?
You don't have to.
Okay, because peaches are really soft when
they're really soft. Pears, you don't have to. The reason I like to smash my pears, like in this pear sweetened fruit sorbet, is so that I want the pear, I don't want it to be pears and then blueberries, because then I'm going to have to mix it up after that. It's not going to necessarily, it spins like this. It doesn't necessarily whip everything together.
Right.
So that's one of the reasons I like to mash things.
Okay, here's an interesting thing. Khaki Blue says, I've read where folks are removing the frozen product from the pint jar, storing it in a plastic bag in the freezer, and then returning to the jar and spinning as needed, minimizing the need for a gazillion jars.
Have you seen that? I've seen that in the Ninja Creami groups. So they're using like smaller bags, and the thing is you have to make sure you get it in the little feet, because the feet have to be preserved. So what they're doing is they're putting that pint in, making sure the feet are filled, closing it, freezing it in this pint. Once it's frozen, taking it out.
So are they lining this with a bag?
So most whole food plant-based people are not going to want to put plastic in it, which is why I'm not really addressing it, and I haven't tried it.
Okay.
If I was on a budget, I'd try it in a heartbeat. I tell you that. So I don't see there's anything wrong with trying it. But if you don't have these feet set in here, so the part that I was saying why I like to puree my pineapple is this little tiny indentation that freezes in there, right? And so when we have this here and the blade goes, the pint doesn't just spin the whole time. The pint is held steady through this.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That makes sense. So if you do that, when you go to put it back in here, you'll have to make sure that it locks down in there. Okay. So that would take a little finessing. Tracy Reese says, what happens if you refreeze and then use the sorbet or light ice cream instead of respin?
Okay. If you have refrozen, you are never going to use the respin button first. We never use the respin button on anything frozen, hard, and solid. So if it's come out of the so like an exception, I think the other day I put half a pint of my cantaloupe watermelon mixture and I was going to get the rest, and it had been there like 20 minutes. Then I use the respin button. So there's always an exception, but no, you're always going to, when you're pulling out that frozen pint, we're always starting with the named button and then using respin after it has been spun once.
Okay. Yeah. Otherwise the respin isn't going to have enough oomph to get through the frozen solid.
Because
Okay.
the blade is moving slower and the, I don't know, probably the thing is moving faster too.
Okay, so Chef AJ says that her Ninja takes 2 minutes and 17 seconds to spin. I knew somebody had to have timed it.
I
That's
love me some Chef AJ, is all I have to say.
Oh, okay, let's see. AJ says you never need to blend canned fruit, too much trouble, and then you have another machine to clean. Unless you use your immersion blender in here, like my VitaMix immersion blender, it says any container with a 3-inch opening or wider. And so this would suffice. And so you could blend it up right in here. Tracy Reese says, thanks. I think I missed it if they answered this, but what's the difference between using light ice cream and sorbet?
Okay, so Ninja has told us nothing about kind of like, Instant Pot doesn't tell us what the magic settings are behind the cake button. They haven't told us, but I've been doing a lot of reading. I'm in pretty much all the Ninja Creami groups. There's an engineer in one of the groups who was talking about sorbet and light ice cream both spin faster and go down slower. So that's all the information I have. So I don't know if it's 2 degrees or 2 whatever's different. And in all honesty, if you probably spun almost everything on sorbet or light ice cream, it doesn't matter. I've done both ways. I think when it does matter is outside of the recipes we're going to make. So
Yeah.
if light ice cream was built for sugar substitutes, like Splenda, and is it Alois? I've been seeing this in the groups. I've never tried it or seen Alus or whatever. So it's stuff that the keto people are using that's going to make the mixture freeze harder than if they used regular sugar. Again, we're not really involved in that the same way.
Right. Because mostly what we're going to be using is going to be fruit. And so that's going to be the sorbet. So Ellen has a good question. Can one lightly thaw frozen bananas and then put them in the pint and then refreeze it? So
as long as there's no space. So if I was putting frozen bananas and there's this little pocket, I need to push it down with something.
Okay, because you need a solid frozen pint.
A solid frozen block is the way that you're going to keep your Ninja Creami around the longest.
Okay. So you haven't tried this yet?
No, but you could I would probably let them sit on the counter for a little while. As hot as it is, it probably takes 5 minutes. And then I would probably be able to smush them down enough. The other thing you can do is you could put some non-dairy milk in there and then put those frozen bananas in, just so you're ensured that they're ensconced in something that's going to freeze solid.
Okay, that sounds great. Because I had wondered that too, because we buy a lot of bananas, and as they get really ripe, then I freeze them to use for different things. So that would be great.
And that goes with all frozen fruit. So if you had frozen strawberries and you wanted to make strawberry sherbet. So the only difference between a sorbet and a sherbet is milk. So it's sorbet with milk. So if I make a pineapple Dole Whip and put milk, if I don't put milk in it, then it's pineapple sorbet. If I do, it's Dole Whip or sherbet. So a lot of times I will just do that, So make your strawberry sherbet. Just think, as long as it's solid, as long as everything's covered and it's all going to freeze solid. That's one of the reasons they say to try and wait 24 hours before you spin your pint. If your freezer is very cold and you've done this for a while, you might be able to back up some of those hours.
I was going to ask you if you've cheated. Have you cheated?
Yes. Worst case scenario. So let's say you did it. You're like, I don't care. It's 12 hours and I want this. You spin it. It's not quite hard enough. It's going to be slushy.
Okay.
If I wanted it that bad, I would drink my slushy. Thank you.
Well, there you go. Hey, have you used avocado in any of the recipes?
I haven't yet because I I will, and that is on my agenda going forward. But for this one in particular, I wanted to cater to a little more no fat. I know some people can't have added avocado, but
Right.
avocado should work great because you're adding fat in there. And you should be able to do that instead of pears, instead of bananas, if you wanted to, for sure. It will work. I can tell you that.
So if you're going to use the sweet potatoes, Japanese sweet potato or Hana yam or regular garnets, oven roasted so that they're really caramelized and really sweet, would you also mix those with some fruit?
I'm
Or
saying
not?
with my smoothie bowls or with an ice cream that you can use them 1-to-1, but like, so if I made the plain banana ice cream with just the sweet potatoes, I probably would add some date syrup in there.
Okay.
But here's the thing. So a couple of cardinal rules. One is don't freeze ice. And that also means, so like, this doesn't apply to us, but if we wanted to buy store-bought lemonade with sugar in it, we can freeze that because the sugar won't let it freeze as hard. What we can't do, and we won't, is go buy lemonade with Splenda in it. So that's like, right?
Right.
So that
Right.
makes it kind of like water.
Okay.
So kind of the same thing with the, just make sure you're making it soft enough, and you may need to add some sweetener as you make additions. Oh, I was getting ready to say a second thing. I totally lost my train of thought. I apologize. Is that you need to taste what's in your pipe before you put it in the freezer. I know
Yes.
you're not going to listen to me. I'm giving you the teacher look so that you will remember this, because you can tell then if it's sweet enough or not, if something was too bitter. The first time I made the kale chip, I got a little ambitious with the kale and the mint, both, and it made it a bitter, nasty mess. I tasted it, split it into 2 pints and fixed it.
Yeah, I think that, I think that's like the best little hint and tip is to taste it before you put it in. And I had heard you say that in your one of the videos in your course. And then when I was mixing up the strawberry pear yesterday, like right before I put it in the freezer, I thought, oh no, Kathy said to taste it. And so I got it back out, and I just put a little spoon, and Chef AJ's taught me to just drop like a drop on my hand and lick it, because that's what the chefs do in the restaurant kitchens. And I thought, oh no, my pears weren't really, or not my pears, my strawberries weren't super sweet. And so I got a tablespoon of my date syrup and added that and stirred it, and then did a second tasting. And I thought, okay, this is perfect. And I thought, oh my gosh, I wouldn't have ruined it, because I would have been able to add it later and do a respin. But I thought, oh my gosh, that like totally saved that container.
Yeah. And that's the thing, when we're working with fruit's the variable. So while my bananas may have been ripe enough when they were X amount of spotty, I've gotten like marked down bananas at the grocery store that were super spotty, and I opened them and I'm like, this is hard as a rock. This is not sweet. So I've got to let it get even, more. So you don't know how much sugar, like frozen fruit, especially frozen berries, are often less sweet than fresh. So there's always going to be some wiggle room.
Yeah, absolutely. 60 Living is asking, this is our friend Sia from Greece, what is allulose? And I don't even know what it is. I don't know if it's a sugar alcohol, I don't know what it is.
I don't either. I just keep seeing it in, like, again, when I'm learning a new appliance, I really immerse myself. So I go on all the Facebook groups, read all the stuff, so that way I can see other things that are happening that I can apply for us. But no, like actually, Chef Julia went into one of them, and she actually messaged me right after. She's like, oh my God, the junk they're using. Because a lot of people do protein shakes in it and things like that. And so, which is fine for them. I'm happy that they're finding a way that works for us. However, there's a way that works for us. And that's what we need to concentrate on.
Yeah, we can still do it in a super healthy way, you guys, and it's absolutely delicious. And like Kathy said in the beginning, if you have a Vitamix or the Champion juicer or the food processor or the Yonanas and you're perfectly happy with that, do you need this machine? No, you don't. It's a splurge, and it's something fun. And because, we like to be able to make really healthy, delicious things for our grandkids. I mean, this is, so amazing for that, because they can help do it and be a part of it and see all the yummy stuff that's going into it, and then get to eat the end result. So anyway, okay, well, we've taken up a lot of your time today, and I know you've got a class. So
I got a class at 4, so in 2 hours.
Okay, somebody in the chat said this is just a Kathy Hester day, because I'm going to be in a class with her in just a little bit. So I can't thank you enough, Kathy, for doing all the work that you've done to create this amazing course and introducing us to the Ninja and figuring out how to do it so that we don't have to figure it out and make all the mistakes.
Life's too hard. It's okay for things to be easy.
I'm all for that. I need everything to be easy, please, please. So, well, I'm excited to get the recipe book and see all the other wonderful things that you've created. We've loved everything that we've made so far. And so you guys get the course, and Tom's got another note for me. Do you have another note? He's writing something furiously. No. Okay. He's good. He's good. So, thanks everybody for.
Kathy's got a busy day, so we'll let her go, and then we'll close off. I'm sorry, I'm talking off screen.
You're talking off screen,
Yeah,
buddy.
we can let Kathy get to her other work.
She's got to prep.
Yeah.
I've got to
So-
clean up in here and get everything prepped up.
Well,
Okay.
Thank you so much. We love your work, Kathy. You're so much fun. It was great hanging out. Let's do it again.
Absolutely. Anytime. I'm always happy to hang out with you guys.
Yeah, can you push the close button on your end, and then ours will pop full screen for us, I think.
Absolutely.
Thank you so
Okay.
much for being here. We'll be in touch soon.
Bye,
We'll talk
everybody.
to you later. Bye,
All right,
Kathy.
bye-bye.
It was so awesome.
Yeah, she's such a great instructor.
She isn't she though? She really is. She's so laid back, and I adore her.
Okay,
She's super cute.
all right. Okay.
Okay, so somebody wants to know, where does this thing live in your home? Did it earn a place on your countertop? Yeah, actually it has. Tom can move that towel from there. But yeah, so we used to have our Champion sitting in this spot. And so instead now we have this one, because I can have stuff prepped and ready to go for the when the grandkids are here. So there it is, right next to our VitaMix. And you guys can see it takes up a little bit less space than a coffee maker does. And so it looks really good right there. And then we have 6 of these, I think. We have 6.
Yeah, it came with 2, and then we bought 4 more.
Yeah, and then we
So-
bought 4 more. So now we have a total of 6 of these, and I have 5 of them filled right now. This is the
Yeah,
only
there's been some dialogue in the chat about that too. The machine that our link is to right now comes with 2. We recommend getting more, either like she suggested, you grab some
at Bed Bath
at
and
Bed Bath
Beyond.
Beyond, or if you're going to order them online, get them while you're there so you don't have a separate shipping charge. The current Mary 20% off code works for the machine. The code we used when we bought ours worked for the machine, but not for the cups. But it was a done deal then. We had the machine, we had the cups, and we were good to go. So
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I always want to get a bargain, but I don't want to spend dimes chasing pennies.
Well, it's true, because our time is worth something as well,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
That's very true. So Quilts 54 says your Vitamix is shorter than mine. Which model is it?
That is the Ascent, and it's got the 48-ounce stainless steel container on it. Vitamixes do come in different heights. The traditional tall one, but that's our new Ascent one, which we haven't done a video on yet.
And it does
but
look taller when we put the 64-ounce container
just because
on
there's
it.
more upper
Because
mass.
I think is the 64 one
It's the
just
same
bigger
height,
around.
just
It's not
wider.
taller.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
that's
so, you know, it's a,
interesting.
you know, well, the Ninja is 16 inches. So it's probably 17 inches tall, it looks like, with the lid on it there. So.
So Chef AJ says you're only happy with your current machines because you haven't experienced the Creami.
Yeah. What, you know, the offset here, and you guys talked about this. If we want soft serve, we're going to get the Champion out, which, you know, folks can't buy anymore, evidently, and make that just like what comes on top of the cones when we were kids. It's soft serve. This Ninja makes scoopable ice cream. And when Tammy's preparing desserts and stuff, we were always fighting with the Ninja machine because the people that got theirs first, it was melting by the time.
Yeah, the Champion, you mean?
The Champion, the first batch would be melting by the time you got the fourth batch out. They're kind of two different animals, and they both have a place in my culinary wants and desires. So
yeah,
it might be a matter of mood, but this one's quick, easy, and now. And what do you eat? What's quick and easy and available now with the pre-frozen pints? Grab one, spin it, scoop it, eat it.
if you don't eat the whole thing, put it back in.
You flatten it out and put it back in, and you're good to go again. And that's not really an option with the soft serve because when you freeze it freezes hard, and then it's not soft serve anymore.
No, and for us, this is like 4 servings. This is a pint. And for us, we get like 4 servings. Some people just get 2, and for some people it would be 1.
Mhm.
But we usually get 4 servings out of it.
Okay.
So Melanie says, Tammy, will you share your peanut butter creamy recipe that you made for your birthday? Yes. So I used it was 4 or 5
3 on 1.
4 or 5 very ripe bananas. Do we have? Where's our banana bowl? I think it's in there.
Yeah.
Would you grab those bananas just so I can show them? And super ripe bananas. And I just broke them up and I put them in here. And then Tom's going to grab some bananas so I can show you.
Be gentle. They're right.
They're ripe. They're ripe. So they were ones like this, and they were about this size. So it may have been 5 of them. So, you know, if you have the great big ones from Costco, you might only need to have 4. It'll just depend. And I broke them up and put them in here, and then I mashed them with a fork. And Kathy uses an avocado masher, which is like a potato masher, but smaller, and it will fit in here. So I'll probably get one of those because it'll just make it easier. And then I added, for the grandkids, I added a 1/4 cup of natural peanut butter. It's the Costco organic peanut butter. For me, 1/4 cup of just the peanut butter powder. Or you could use this is the almond one. And these are one ingredient.
They sense a blog post coming on.
Yeah. We'll have to do a video. We can do a video too.
For that recipe specific.
Yeah.
It'll be peanut butter is always popular in my book.
Right. And then you can do like 1/2 teaspoon of either the vanilla, this is pure vanilla, like 1/2 teaspoon of the pure vanilla, or I use less of the vanilla powder. And this is on our Amazon page, and Tom has a link in the show notes, and as well as the peanut powder
In the
is on
pantry
there.
section. Go
In the pantry
not in
section.
small appliances.
And so just a 1/4 teaspoon of this. The vanilla also just adds a nice little note of sweetness to it, which is really great. And then it wasn't quite to the fill line. So then I just added a little bit of almond milk. For the grandkids, I would use soy milk because it has a little more fat in it. But I just did that to the fill line. And then I just gave it a stir, froze it for 24 hours, and then put it on the Creami. You could either use the light ice cream or the sorbet. When it was done, then I just used a little spatula, and I made just they say a 1.5 inch opening from the top to the bottom of the container. And that's when I added chocolate chips. Now for the grandkids, I use the ones that have a little bit of sweetness. For us, we use the unsweetened, and these are from Trader Joe's. And, or you can get them from the Santa Barbara Chocolate Company. And added just a couple tablespoons of those, put it back in the creamy on the mix-in, and it just stirs them in. Or you could just do it by hand if you wanted to just do it by hand. So, and that's my chocolate peanut butter. And then if you want to really gild the lily, then make my my chocolate sauce that's on the blog, and it's made with cacao powder and the Date Lady date syrup. And then you can drizzle that over the top too.
Tiffany is pointing out that people are liking your sassy hairdo today.
Oh, thank you.
I did
So-
a few comments about it.
Oh, well, when I get my haircut, this is how my stylist likes to fix it. She is like, it's just an update. You still get the bob, but this is just like a fun little update. And it was kind of going crazy today when I got up.
So you're having a crazy day?
Yeah, I'm having a crazy hair day.
Okay.
And so I thought, well, it wants to do this today, so I'll just let it do it.
Okay.
So thank you, you guys. It's
All right.
fun. All right. So let's see.
We got to run.
Oh, somebody said that they thought that Target had 2 of these for $19. So, just check around at the different local stores to get your accessories, check the cost of the Ninja Creami wherever you shop, and but just get one because this is really fun.
Okay.
Okay, let's
Although the current
see.
promotion on Ninja is better than Amazon right now, and it's not a bad market price. The 20% off.
Oh, the 20% off at Ninja
With our link.
Direct with our link.
It's not a bad market price,
Okay.
and it's a little bit less than the Amazon price right now from what we have available today.
Yeah.
There could be something else happening next week. Something else was going on last week. It's
Check
Ninja.
Bed Bath Beyond, check Sam's Club, check Costco,
yeah.
check Target,
so the-
check wherever you shop.
Yeah, the price is going to swing a little bit, but
Yeah.
not dramatically, I don't think.
Yeah.
So.
And if you really want to learn how to use it and get a ton of recipes, I think Kathy said that her ebook is over 30 pages. And it will
I'm sure it's a complete course. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And because on the initial book that goes with the course, she really had the SOS free way of eating in mind.
Okay.
And was really gearing those recipes towards us. And so, that's really helpful as well, because somebody did email me in a panic yesterday and said, I bought this from the Home Shopping Network and I got it and I opened up the book because you do get a book. And she was like, oh my gosh, all of the recipes are full of
Bad food.
bad stuff that I would never use. Have I made a mistake? And so I told her, no, you haven't made a mistake. Watch us tomorrow because you can make really delicious, amazing stuff. And, the most work that it is to put stuff in a blender and whip it and then freeze it. I mean, that's the most work, but you could even just use your immersion blender and you won't even have to dirty your VitaMix.
Okay.
Immersion blender right
All
there.
So for those of you that have been with us, thank you for spending the last almost 2 hours with us. If you are going to make a purchase of Kathy's course, please, we invite you to use our affiliate link that we provided in the show notes and a couple of times in the comments. And likewise for the machine, if you're so inclined, check out our factory direct promotion or the Amazon page if you wish.
Okay,
We
there's one more
appreciate that.
question. Can I answer one more question?
One more, and then that's it.
Okay, so Mona says, if you left the peanut butter out, would you use anything else for the vanilla flavor? Well, if I left the peanut butter out, I would still add the little bit of vanilla to the bananas. If you're just going, because you can make just all
Banana ice cream,
you can
yeah.
make just all banana and ice cream in here if you want. You could add cacao powder or unsweetened cocoa powder, or you could add carob powder. if you do that, you'll need a little more sweetness. And so then I would use a little bit of,
You'll stir the powder in.
yeah, you'll have to stir the powder in. And I would use a little bit of date syrup or date paste, which you will need to stir in because it's not, the Ninja Creami is not a blender. So, so it's not going to blend all of that together for you. So you could make it chocolate if you wanted to, or you could add a little bit of cardamom. You could add a little touch of cinnamon to it. You know, just depends on whatever flavors you like.
Okay.
A little bit of nutmeg.
Tricia
Ooh,
Reese, thank
nutmeg.
you. We are so glad that you are here. Appreciate the kind comments. And we will see you next week.
Oh, Jeanette says, remember, this is a good point. If you bought the bundle, the Ultimate Weight Loss Bundle that we were in last February, she said, remember, there was a whole book in there, an ebook in there of ice cream, of different,
You could adapt recipes from.
and you could adapt recipes from that.
ingredients list.
Jeanette, that's brilliant.
Yeah, a lot of you have the UWL bundle, so go back and find the ice cream.
It was something called Scoops or something. It was Melissa's husband that
Yes.
made that. And yeah, that's a great idea because they married a lot of good flavors together, you know.
It was very healthy ingredients.
Yeah, with all fruits. So great idea. Thank you for suggesting that, Jeanette. Okay.
Okay.
Somebody says they're going to mix in walnuts with their banana and ice cream. Absolutely, you could do that. And, you know, there's lots of different extracts that you can use for flavoring. There's essential oils that you can use. There's, you know, you can use your vinegars in the strawberry pear one. Kathy's recipe called for a little bit of lavender balsamic, which I had from California balsamic. So you can also use your flavored balsamic vinegars as well. It doesn't take much, like half a teaspoon to a teaspoon, and it'll really make a difference in the flavor. So lots of different things. We'll be experimenting, and hopefully we can get some
This is a
videos
long
made.
video. If you missed the beginning, there is going to the replay will be left up. Listen for the mystery phone call that got resolved. So, all right.
Right.
Yes, we got to go.
Okay, we got to go. We've got grandkids coming too. Woohoo! It's a busy day. We're going to be making more ice cream. I'm Tammy.
I'm Tom.
Oh, did we thank the moderators?
No. No, Tiffany, Jesse, and Randy joined us too.
Randy was here
She
too.
was sneaking.
Randy.
But yeah, she was in here for a little bit.
Okay, Mary says the creamies at Costco for $139 and you get 3 containers. So, all right, you guys, that's it. That's all we got.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
I'm Tammy,
Oh, and I'm Tom.
and we help you get healthy and stay healthy
One day, one meal, one ice cream serving
at a time.
Bye.